Welcome to the Hustlers Huddle, a networking podcast about
you. We're there.
We're
Getting
super,
better
we're
every
professional. It's like, give me a check now.
I think we're done with the show.
Yeah,
Wrap it up.
it's good.
Cash
It's good
out.
to go.
Hey, so who are you, man?
I'm good.
My
That's like
name is-
10 minutes. That's like 10 grand right there.
Hey, I don't know who's writing that check. Y'all get paid for this?
There we go.
What the hell?
Dario, can you handle that? Like,
I got
Break him off. Break him.
I gotta go to the restroom real quick.
Shit. Hey, that's a way to get started, right?
Yeah,
Bring
right?
it out of
My name is
tell them.
Chris. Don't block punches with your face, Whitwell.
That's probably appropriate for today or any day.
I don't know if
guess,
you've noticed.
really.
I make it appropriate to every show. And you're just now
try.
catching on.
You try. I
Except
think
for the
that's key
beginning.
point.
Except for the beginning.
Yeah,
It's
that's
just
true.
random.
I'm Chris Correa, as usual. We got Dario.
Radio Davis.
And today joining us, we got
Alexander the Great.
Alexander the Great. What's happening, man? How are you?
Doing pretty swell, man. I've been on this rehab train with the shoulder, just aggressively beating the brakes off of PT and doing everything I can. Man, I can't stand the sound of my voice. I gotta take it
Yeah.
serious.
It's kind of the same
Yeah,
way.
no, I've been just hitting the PT so aggressively and trying to like ride the wagon back to the healthy side, and in the midst just trying to line up some future candidates and talk some shit and get that guy on the other end that I need.
Whitwell's
for
got
February.
a little point about that, I'm sure.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, we could talk more about that later, but just really just getting back in the groove of things, man. The shoulder setback was huge, and then like as a fighter, it starts to play real mental games with you. You get mind fucked when you're out too long.
Sure.
And even though you tell yourself like, here's the projection, here's the forecast, here's how it's going to be, along the way you doubt that. You have questions, and you start to go through this kind of little variance of ups and downs, and you're like, maybe this is taking longer than it should. And so like just those kind of reminders, and it feels good to finally be back in like a swing where I'm doing the shit I get paid to do, more so than just doing stretches and jogs and,
Absolutely.
light cardio. It's like, okay, I'm actually making contact and taking legs and giving them.
Well, and plus to your point, we talk about it all the time in here. It's not just fighting. It's any business, any sport, anything that you're in. Fighting, I would imagine, much more so because I would say the fact of you being rusty, your payment is a lot more than, right? If you're in some other business where being rusty, I may not be taking that punch to the face or whatever the case, right? Whereas within fighting, if you are rusty and you're getting that ring, like, hey, may not be the best first showing out. So I can see how that would definitely be much more of an impact in that round. But man, we talk about it all the time. Whether you're a fighter, whether you're in business, whatever that hustle is, you've got to stay on that grind to keep that skill not from perishing.
And
So,
like,
go ahead.
I was just talking to Dario about it today, man. Like, it's always utilizing what you can. And that might be so minuscule. Like sometimes you're so debilitated that all you have is your breath. And it's like, well, I'm going to beat that breath to death. And like, all I'm going to do is focus on that breath. Like I might not be able to get out of bed for the first 45 minutes because something's pulled, torn, injured. And so it's like, I'm debilitated in some form. So like breath work is the work now of the day.
So what is that? What are you talking about breath work? You literally.
Well, I want to pause this, right? Because we came in very great content already, but I want to make sure that everybody that is listening that may not be
Knows who we're
tuned
talking
in
to.
knows who
Exactly. I was
we are
about to
actually
interject.
talking to. Alexander the Great Hernandez. If you do not know this individual, turn on the
we got
TV.
all excited. You're right, man.
Yeah, no,
I was
straight up.
like,
If you
this
don't
is
know
great.
this man, turn on the TV, go to Google, check out. He is a beast in the octagon, a small little combative arena. You may have heard of it, founded by not founded by, but made popular by a Mr. Dana White and the UFC.
Right.
And so we have a UFC fighter, one of the top ranked in the world,
Yeah.
with us right now. And I'm going to try not to offend him because I do block punches with my face.
I do appreciate that.
I think the way that he went into this conversation, the dialogue, probably speaks to the way you are as an athlete, right? Like you went
Yeah,
head
you said head
first,
on,
tackled it, and you said, hey, here's what I have in front of me. Let's get to it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you
Well,
literally said that earlier.
Well, you have the look of vigor in your eyes, Chris, and I'll be locked eyes. I'm like, all right, we're diving all in.
I do that to
We're diving all in. So.
He does have that. So like, there's this Mike Tyson video where he's breaking down the opponent, right? And he's like, I'm looking at him, and he looks away, and that's when I knew I had him.
Yeah.
This guy right here has been staring me dead in my eye, and I'm scared of him. Like,
Hey, Chris
straight,
looked away, second one. He's
I'm looking at him, talking about it, and
I've
he's
been finding
still
the
staring at
principles
me.
of Chris right now. I'm trying to find out his morals, his compass, trying to see what's important to Chris.
He's a little man right now over here. Look at the little man.
Dissect him.
Hey, so how much of that? Well, not how much. I mean, probably 90% of it is psychological. But I want to talk about the psychological. You were talking about breath work earlier.
Right. Well, I'm just talking about like even almost minimalism in that. But I was talking to just Dario, right before this, and
right.
He just said something simple like, "How's your day going?" Well, honestly, I had a pretty fucking rough day. Like it was a little iffy. I got out of bed this morning. I was looking at all the shit I had to do, and I'm like, man, I don't feel like fucking talking tonight after like everything else I got to do, and I'm already in a bad place.
On, man.
Yeah, no, 100%, dude. This is a dope ass man cave, so I'm happy to be here. This is the coolest little podcast setup I've ever sat in, so this is awesome. But last night, I again, it's just been this kind of roller coaster ride of trying to get my mind and body in the right place where I need it to be, and then I've got so much respect. I got so much confidence in myself, so I say the things I do, and I mean them transparently. But I've got so much respect for everybody in the division that I'm fucking terrified, man. I'm scared all the time. So it's like, when I feel like I'm falling behind in any area of my life, I mean, that's frightening. That's the kind of shit that keeps you up at night and wakes you up early in the morning. So I was getting my mind right last night. It's 33 degrees, nice little wind chill. And me and my boy, Andrew Martinez, AM Visions is his tag. He's a videographer, photographer I use.
Shout out Andrew.
Andrew, yeah. We rolled up to my abode there in New Braunfels and got the groceries ready to do like a fat veggie, sweet potato, big steak dinner, cook it all up.
Oh, yeah.
While it's cooking, run to the pool, jump in that bitch, 33-degree weather. And we ice off. We're in there for 10 minutes, moving, splashing. He's yelling all kinds of crazy shit. He's yoked out of his mind. I mean, we had a little, herbal pre-medicine beforehand. So the mind was right. And we're in there, and we're soaking. We get out, and my hands are fucking, just aching. I was like, he's like, we killed it. I'm like, dude, I might have just fucking killed my palms, dude. Like, I don't know if I'm ever gonna be able to like type again, bro. Like, I don't know if my pianist game's like completely out.
Typing doesn't seem like it's necessarily.
I might play piano
skills.
one day, dude. And I was like, fuck, we might have overdid it, but we shook it off, got right, and I kind of expected to wake up reinvigorated, but I think maybe we got a little too hyped, ended up watching too many fight documentaries, videos. I mean, I'm telling you, I was really honest. We ended up going to bed too late, woke up. First thing we did, cracked the ice on the buckets. Another 33-degree morning, poured the ice on our heads, went straight to practice. But I got there, and I was trying to get in the flow of things, and I was a little tired from the day, and I was just not having it. It's cold as shit, so get going and clack my knee. My knee's been sore all day. Just things aren't clicking, and I'm trying not to be a bitch in my mind. I'm like, dude, these things happen. You keep progressing. You need to keep progressing. And I'm just not really flowing. My shoulder's starting to ache. High percent of my elbow last week, and so that's kind of bothered me a little bit. And there's just all these little aches and pains. I'm just trying to do what I can and bitch as little as possible to myself.
Yeah,
there you go.
And I get through the session, and I'm kind of pissed off. So I grab a few guys, and I'm like, we're gonna stick. You guys are sticking around now. And so we start sticking around, and we're working some things, and I'm getting more of a sweat. I'm feeling a little bit better, but in my mind, like, you suck dick, dude. You're not really doing it. So I'm like, okay, I get done with the martial arts thing, and I kind of like pace around the gym. I pick up some things, put them down. I'm kind of like trying to figure out how to occupy this time. And then it's like, what can you do? I mean, clearly the martial arts thing's not really happening for you. Your body feels bad. You're not having it. What can you do? Well, you can fucking run.
Right.
So I just dashed. I ran like a motherfucker. Yeah, I went through shirt, sweatshirt. I put about 40 on the clock, and then I went in the sauna, started doing some more work, and then I had my PT session, did that, and now I'm here, and I feel like a fucking new man. I'm reinvigorated.
Nice.
And it's just getting the mind right. You got to look at what you can do, because there's so many shits that you can't do. There's so many things you can't do, and it's like all the obstacles. And I was like, what's the one fucking thing I can do? And sometimes it's just, like for me, sometimes it's just going for a run.
Yeah. Let me ask you about the running. Are you a natural runner?
Absolutely not, bro. You look at me, dude. I'm like, I got stocky thighs, bro. These
well, so you force yourself, I guess, is what I'm saying.
Oh yeah. I'm a sprinter, dude. Like, I was the fastest kid up until like 10 years old.
Okay.
It was like me and the boys, and I was killing it. And then this one dude moved in. It's not even like, that's even a race car. One of my best friends tell me, black dude moves in, and he just starts smoking me, and I'm like, God damn it. So then I kind of picked my game up a little bit, and we were kind of always neck and neck. We were killing it together. And then everybody went and hit puberty, and I just didn't. And I just got slept on, bro. I just got shit on for the next, like, I don't know, 8
You're like,
years.
I'll get y'all back.
Yeah, 8 years, bro. I just got shit on for like 8 years after that. So all of my athletic attributes went in like the prepubescent pool, and I
Straight
just kind of fucking.
He was sitting there like, bro, if I can't be the fastest, I'm gonna have the best hands.
Dude,
Yeah, that
the
came
reason-
later, but yeah, dude. I mean, really, at the time, it was just like, I don't know what I had the best of, like maybe jokes. I thought it was funny.
You
Like,
said
I might not be the fastest, but I'll have the best jokes. Like, I guess that was kind of it.
Hey,
No, dude, I
so
was asking- oh, sorry. Go
oh no,
ahead.
no, it's all good. So Alex, from one athlete to another, I just want to elaborate just for a little bit. You hit on like this dude knew he moved next door. He was faster than me. A little bit of your aches and pains, injuries that you've been trying to get over.
Right.
And I was doing some research last night about your fight with the Cowboy
Uh-huh.
and some of your quotes after that. Talk a little bit about being a great athlete, but also being humbled, be it losing a fight, an injury from a child, and how that motivates you to be successful as you are.
Yeah, I mean, whenever something like that happens, I mean, that's so much. I'm trying to think about like how to even approach that kind of
Right.
question.
Yeah.
I guess just going back to where I was at, in that fight, that was a crazy thing, man. People talk about like, again, like talking trash or anything else. And I'm not really about that. I'm just kind of about speaking transparently, speaking
Sure.
my mind.
Yeah.
So whenever somebody asks me like, hey, how you gonna handle your business? Well, I'm gonna fuck my business up. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I'm not worried about your business. I'm not worried about any like other guys. I'm not worried about anybody's business. But this man's my business, and you're gonna ask me how I'm gonna conduct I'm gonna fuck that business up.
Yeah.
So for me, that's kind of what that was, and that's always the way it's gonna be. And going into that fight, man, I mean, walking into that cage, that's about as close to God as I think anybody could feel. I was in the back of that. That's what I'm saying. There are no
I can
front.
imagine, man.
There are no fronts here, my
Hey,
man.
I was watching you,
Dude,
and I felt close to God.
that was my greatest crux, though, is that like it was too wrapped up before it was wrapped
Sure.
up. That was my problem, and that's exactly how the fight went too. It was like wrapped it up, but instead of slowing down, appreciating the wounded animal, and then taking the kill, what do? You overzealously just ran into it, and I just tumbled to my own doom. My buddy said it best when I got out. He's my training partner who was on the road with me. He's like, man, he didn't win that fight. You lost it.
I
You
agree.
lost that fight.
I remember watching that
and I
fight.
was like, damn.
Yeah.
That hurts.
Having changed your entire mindset
Yeah.
for the next fight to where you don't react like that.
Yeah,
Right? To
and
where you put the work
and that's a
in
whole that's a whole
versus-
conversation. Also, right, like that overswing, but yeah, going in that fight, bro, I was in the back and I'm yelling, "It's Christmas, boys! It's fucking Christmas!" I'm looking at Johnny Handjob. He's my mitt man,
Yeah.
and I'm like, Johnny, what you want for Christmas, boy? It's fucking Christmas tonight, boys! It's Christmas. It's time to get those gifts unwrapped, Johnny. I mean, I
Getting
was
hype.
on like 2, bro. I was just on it.
Hey,
and-
well, you still got performance or fight of the
yeah,
night,
Fire the
right?
Night. Yeah,
Yeah.
Fire the Night. And honestly,
Yeah.
and I see, I'm such a critic of myself. Like I didn't even think that was an option. Whenever I'm sitting there.
After, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sitting there in the back. I'm sitting in the fucking. They take something like that happens. TKOs, KOs, any kind of like referee stoppage happens. They get you to the hospital, the ER to get you scanned. So I'm sitting in the chair. And my manager tells me that, and I'm like whatever the fuck. Like no, it wasn't. It wasn't even a great fight. I went back and watched. I'm like, yeah. I mean, it was a great fight, and it was.
Oh yeah, man. I mean, you went.
It was good. Yeah,
Come
it
on,
was
dude.
good. Yeah, it was good. It was good. And but I guess that mindset swing from that, man,
Right.
like that was a fucking roller coaster. I've had a split decision loss before in my life when I was younger, and it was just different, and it was so much like. I mean, really, I lost by all the same reasons. You step in that cage, and every single time, I swear to God, it's just me versus me featuring whoever else.
There
so
you
like,
go.
Yeah.
like
Did
whenever
you say something about I don't care about the size, the shape,
yeah,
the style. It's me
None
versus
of
me,
that
right?
shit. Yeah. So it's just like I just need to show up and do the thing, and I'm trying to figure that out too, man. Because like people forget, I'm my 3rd fucking fight in the UFC, and I'm fighting the most decorated
Exactly.
and accredited fighter in the
People-
entire
people don't-
organization.
And
And it's like, yo, this is. Man, this is my 3rd
It's your
fight.
third.
Literally, no one has done that, and I should have taken that man out. And I'm still mad at myself for not taking him out because I should have.
right.
But it's like, I had the odds in my favor. Like the whole stature, the whole thing. Like
Sure.
people sleep on it. It's like, dude, this was some big shit. And even the press conference, man, we had the most views of any fight ever on a televised, like on a platform.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like those are
Yeah,
the most
no, it's
non.
incredible,
man.
I want
For your third fight.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's sick.
I want to visit the business aspect of that later on, but maybe you can help me out with this just to let people know, because what you're talking about, taking the stage, a large stage like that,
Right.
and only have 3 fights into the biggest combative. I mean, it's easy to say that
It's the
UFC,
pinnacle. It
UFC is more popular than boxing now.
It is.
Yeah,
Boxing
it is.
makes-
Absolutely.
makes,
Yeah,
but-
unless you're a star like Canelo or something. and shit.
Right,
Yeah,
right. So with that being said, help me out with the football statistics if you know them off the top of your head. If you don't, but you got to think about the NFL. There's how many teams in the NFL?
32.
32 teams in the NFL. There's on any given position, there's 22 positions on the field, 11 and 11, right?
11, 11, 22
And then you have
players, yeah.
backups and so forth. So what's a
So
typical
60-man roster. What do you
60
say?
man,
there?
53
man
in
roster.
NFL, 60 in college.
times
Yeah.
32, and then you're going to break it down, and
So
so
you got
all these
1,500
collegiate
people.
players
Yeah.
are trying to make it to these teams,
Right.
and then all the high school kids are trying to make it to the
Sure.
college, and everybody wants to put the football athlete on the next level.
Right.
We're talking, there's not 1,500
I was
UFC
about to say
fighters
that.
that are in.
That and,
Yeah.
and,
You know, the
that, and
top
that's the
running.
biggest difference. That of course, football, quote unquote, has a bigger platform, but I have 10 brothers that are helping me accomplish
Bingo.
what we're trying to get against 11 others.
And
In the octagon, it's one-on-one, man.
the
So
octagon is
you get all the
worldwide.
praise, and it's worldwide. You get all the praise, all the criticism, and to what I was going to say, Alex, even though you did not come out victorious of that fight, and from meeting you this evening, and from seeing that fight, I think you grew from it.
Oh yeah.
I think you grew leaps and bounds. There's a little bit of a humility, but at the same time, that caused you to grow. But at the same time, I don't fault you for being that optimistic pre-fight.
Right.
What
Well,
other
it's not
choice do you
optimistic,
have?
It's transparency.
Yeah.
You have to be.
And you
This
have
is my
you don't-
third fight, man.
if you
I'm gonna
don't-
go out and
Mhm.
I'm gonna ball out. I'm not. Oh, it's Cowboy. I'm just gonna.
Yeah.
Maybe I. No. You're
Exactly.
gonna go for it. But nonetheless, I think you've grown a lot.
No, for sure, man. And that was kind of the biggest swing into this next one. You know, it was a roller coaster afterwards. The absolute lowest point I had was being in that fucking ER van on the way to the hospital, because I'm like sitting there with my coach and I'm all there and everything. You know, the fight stopped, we got walked back, and I'm sitting there and they're like, you got to go to the ER just to get your head scanned and shit. And I'm like, all right, whatever. It's probably a good idea. So, so we go back there, and I'm sitting in the back with him, and I'm like, honestly, dude, I don't even know what the fuck to do. Like, I don't know what to do, because like what happened was I went in there, shot some shots, but got overzealous, over anxious.
Yeah.
And trying to
And-
just come back
yeah,
and
fell
blast
on my
him.
own sword and kept falling into just like simple, like obvious little fucking booby traps. But I'm so wrapped in my mind that it's like I'm not even paying attention to what this dude's doing. I'm literally just
Exactly.
beating my own ass.
But that
man.
goes back to your experience. You got your 3 fights in.
Right.
This guy's
Exactly.
what?
Exactly, and that's one
How-
thing. Something
yeah, I don't
he's
even know off
done
the top of
that's
my
like
head.
to accredit him. Is
Absolutely,
like,
yeah.
his mental composure at that point was better than we've ever seen. Like normally you break him. Normally he breaks. Like I was already in his head mentally, and then physically after like
You're
a
doing a
first
good
round
job of getting in his head.
normally he
Yeah.
goes back and he's like when he shrivels up into like a shell of himself. The Cowboy you're saying now is a guy who's confident in his form in his position in life and what he's doing and why he's doing it for, and he showed that. And so he had a lot of maturity in his approach and his response to me, and he killed it for that. But like for me, it was like, you know, what the fuck do I do different, man? Because this is like all I know how to do. I don't even know how to fight if I'm not just fucking rushing. That's like that post comment was like, well, man, I don't even know how to fucking fight a 3-round fight. I know how to go in there and berserk
And
a
just- yeah,
motherfucker.
exactly.
I can
Yeah.
juggernaut people pretty goddamn good. But like, I don't know how to fucking I don't know how to conduct myself and poise a 3-round fight, man, or even a 5-round. Like, what the fuck am I gonna do? And so, you know, a hell of a pickle to find yourself in. You know, especially when you're at the ranking I'm at.
They-
You
they
know,
give you an opportunity to
so it's like
I made it to the greatest stage, not having to finish a
I
fight.
mean, I'm
like,
looking at
or
top 10
finishing
guys,
fights,
and I'm trying to learn how to fucking fight. You know, like a full fight. And it's like, yo, like nobody
after-
sees this. You know,
After talking with your coach and your trainer and your staff, what did you ultimately take from it?
that we need to
And which way
compose.
did you grow?
Yeah, I need to learn poise. I need to learn
There you go.
composure. I need to learn poise. I need to learn to think in the moment and learn to be patient, because in my mind, like seconds are hours. Like I'm in there and
Yeah.
it's like, bump, bump. Okay, nothing's happened. It's been like 2 days, and we need to make the move.
Right.
You know,
It's
like
go
so I'm
time.
pop, pop, pop. I'm in. Pop, pop, pop. I kill. And so like this next fight, the whole thing was like, dude, we are practicing patience. We're practicing poise. You look at these guys; they might not have an exchange for the first set, up to even 2 minutes. Sometimes they're just tapping, feeling
Literally
out.
just
Like,
trying to fill it
yeah,
out.
feel it out, tapping jabs. Like we need to practice that and embrace his philosophy, just so we can like. It was almost like an overswing, just so we could find the middle
How do you
ground.
play against
Yeah,
it, right?
and especially against somebody like my next opponent being Trinaldo, another veteran, another guy who's going to count on me just running in, and he's going to sit back like he did, just be a heavy counter striker. He's also, I mean, the biggest fucking guy I've ever fought, and so we knew that he was just going to be kind of sitting back, banking on me coming in. He's going to try to counter, or even just trying to weather the storm and then make a resurgence in the second or third round. So for me, that whole camp was like, okay, dude, we're being patient, we're poising, we're setting up our shots, and we're being like, it was literally like I was having to train myself to delay the attack.
Yeah, I like in your post-fight interview. I mean, you literally quote as saying, "Hey, I had to rewire my entire line of thinking to sit back and have the composure." I think you called it like controlling the center, right?
Yeah.
Versus rushing out and just trying to blitz them and blast them or whatever the case.
Right.
But I mean, dude, that's got to be. I can't even imagine in our day-to-day. A minute seems like an hour. I can't imagine being in an octagon
Well,
in
you
a
just got
combat
this, yeah,
sport.
you got a predator just like, staring at you the whole time. You're like, okay, dude, this lion's not in the bush. It's
Well,
right
in
fucking
this
in front of me.
particular case,
So do I hit
You got
the
a
lion?
hometown crowd cheering for you. You know, that whole.
Well, my coaches were freaking out at that too. They're like, oh, fuck, don't react. Dude, Johnny. Yo, chill. Yo, John. Yeah. Take it easy. He's going to go. Yeah. John had this like funny like comment just about going out there and having like that kind of applause, which is honestly like San Antonio fucking stand up. I mean, amazing, dude. Most electrifying, like, dude, amazing. So proud. And he was joking about going out there and hearing that and being like, oh, this doesn't feel right. Because like, dude, my fights, I mean, Las Vegas was neutral, nothing happened there. But then, like, the next one in Calgary, I was going against the hometown hero there in Canada because he's the only fucking representative since GSP in Mercier. So, and he was on.
He's the guy.
Yeah, he was on like a killing spree also, and we're fighting in Canada.
But that's a lot different in Canada. Isn't that like going around?
Dude, you would think, bro. Trust me, they were really cool up until walking out, bro. Like, everybody was your homie at the fucking corner store, but you walked out there, they're like, fuck, you died. I'm like, whoa, Canode. I didn't know you had that. Yeah, that vernacular, dude.
They're touching gloves and they're like, hey, so, you know, you're a cool guy, but I'm going to kill you now.
Like, fucking rape your mother. You're like, yo, chill, bro. Let it breathe.
Oh, this got real.
Yeah, so Canada was like, whoa, okay. These dudes aren't as cool as they acted this week. and then in New York, going against fucking Reagan, you know, and Cerrone, it was like, all right, well, yeah, it's got to be a hometown favorite here. You know, because Cerrone's just like, he's one of the biggest guys in the UFC. He fights anybody generally at this point. Now he's getting the hand, you know. So being in San Antonio, it was like, oh shit, I'm the guy. This is cool. This is cool.
Take us back, man. How did you get into combat sports?
Yeah, I was just gonna ask. I mean, so from San Antonio, what does that look like, bro?
Yeah, man. So you know, when I was a kid in elementary school and everything, I was like just like real average looking, I guess, probably.
Hey, man, I see the vigor in your eyes.
Oh, I appreciate that, bro. Yeah, it's very social too. Don't lock him, boy. You might not leave alone. You might not leave alone, dog.
Hey, don't touch me under the table.
Yeah, he's on speed. Yeah, keep passing that pen.
He's talking about. Never mind.
Yeah,
vape pen. We're vapors, guys.
Sign notes. No, so I was never really into too much, and like I said, I had some like quicks about me. So I quick feet. I was always kind of like stockier legs. Kind of like I had this weird body that I never understood, and like it's so funny. Like kids, I mean, you just overthink so much, and like reality seems so big whenever like your world's so small as a kid. But that's all you know, right? And just like my build, like my form. Like I thought was like so shitty as a kid. Like I just thought it was the worst thing fucking ever. And now like where I'm at, it's like, oh dude, this is like an excellent fighter's actually. Like I've got these long monkey arms that like I was always like, oh, why can't I do as much weight as you guys? It's like, oh, because I got like 5 inches more reach than you guys. And I didn't realize at the time, like oh, my legs are kind of longer, so I explode, and then they're starting. They take and deliver big blows. It's just like, or even my core. I always thought like, oh, I got these big ribs, are kind of frumpy, look fucked up. I want like that skinny little, I don't know, whatever little cute, waistline or whatever. And I'm like, I didn't have that, and it's like, well, now it's like, oh, that's
really
like
want
that's
that
power
girlish
in your
figure.
back. I want like that. That's hard to grab. You got power when you grab, and you have power when you throw. And so it's like all these things that like that's what mixed martial arts does too. It like brings out the best of what you have, and there's always something you have that you can perform with, and like perform better than other people can with your own attributes. And like conventional sports just doesn't show that to a lot of people because it's like, oh well, you're not short, you're not tall enough, you're not big enough, you're not like. Even then at the time, it wasn't like I wasn't like. My reflexes were slow. I wasn't agile enough, or just whatever else. It's like it's just so conventional wisdom, and it's like mixed martial arts is that funky functional shit that people need.
Well,
And
so
even if you're
especially
not
when
doing it like as a professional, just training and opening your mind to that side of the world.
just something, it's almost like the what Bruce Lee started, right? The Wing
Yeah.
Chun, whatever, where it's just like a different style, almost art. Well, it's martial arts, so
Yeah.
artistic within it. But no, I was going to ask. So even when you were coming up, I mean, you're younger than us, not by much, but you are younger than us. But the UFC wasn't still that popular when you started, right?
No.
So who'd you look up to? Who was
Matt
the,
Hughes was the first guy.
Matt
Who-
Hughes.
Matt Hughes, okay,
Matt
cool.
Hughes, yeah. And also, I mean, he's just like a
I
fucking
grappled
brick.
against that
He's like an
cat.
all-American
Did you
hero.
really?
He's mad, man. Yeah, he came used to train at Peak Performance
You
with.
said you grappled with him?
Yeah.
Ah, no
He's a
shit.
monster.
You got
Well,
some
hey, what
Matt
was
Hughes
the
debris
thing
on your
too?
fucking
Yeah,
chin,
so I used to
boy?
train at
That's
shout out
special,
Peak Performance up in the DFW. Paul Helmy,
Special,
Travis
dude.
Luter, Bruno Bastos, that clan there. So he came in for a seminar and then he started rolling with everybody. And I was a white belt, and that dude, you talk about heavy. He was the heaviest, and he's a big guy, but he's not a big guy. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
built like you. Like that's a
Yeah,
big
yeah,
dude.
yeah. But not,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? But
But it's like it's one of those things where you don't really know until you know, like when you
Right,
feel
right,
him.
right.
he
When
felt
you
like
feel him,
250
Like a tree
pounds.
trunk,
Yeah.
or what do you call it, a fire hydrant?
Feel like a fire
Feel like a
hydrant.
fire hydrant.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
like,
I didn't grapple along with him. I mean, he just kind of.
I got
he-
rolled
I had to
on the
fuck you
mat.
out.
No,
idea,
he
yeah.
tapped me out and he was like, I'm not even fucking with white belts anymore. Next.
Yeah.
So where'd
yeah,
you
that's
saw
charity.
him on? Was it Bellator or where'd you?
No,
where'd
man,
you
it
first
was
come out?
it was on UFC, but
Was it
man, I
UFC?
didn't
Okay.
even catch that until maybe I don't even know if it's middle school or high school. Like I said, all through elementary school, I pretty much just played basketball. I was just
Did you like
balling
any
out,
of
dude.
the boxing at the time? The
No,
wrestling?
I didn't do anything. So I grew up with my mom, and I just kind of just kind of conventional shit, hung out. I've always been like real social, and so I was always just kind of kicking it with the boys, and then just kind of making do. Really, sports at that age too is such like just a social thing, and it was like I don't have the confidence or the size in my mind, at least, to play football. I don't have like any of the attributes to play football. It feels like
It's funny, we talk about it all the time, but everybody wants to play football at
Yeah,
that
no,
age,
I
right?
don't.
Like, everybody's
Yeah.
like, hey, I gotta play football.
Yeah,
it's the
I would
social thing.
love
It's
to
the
like
social aspect.
street football we'd play, and I'd love to like
Oh, yeah.
lay people out. We'd always call like the like iron arm, like just trying to like clothesline people and do shit like that. Yeah, those are the highlight reel moments too, at that age.
Yeah.
But
At what, you're our episode 15, right?
14.
14.
1-4.
1-4. So no matter who's sitting in that chair, I always like to ask that man or woman or people we have behind there, what was your aha moment? Be it late teens, early 20s. What can you take us to that
Yeah.
moment that like, yo, I can make a living at this, man. I can ball out, I can crush skulls, or that time period.
yeah,
When
do you mean aha moment just like kind of in yourself, or just like for the fighting itself?
Either or.
Both.
Floor is yours.
Both.
Yeah, both. Yeah,
I mean,
whatever.
I'm a late bloomer. I've always been a late bloomer and everything. So, I didn't hit puberty till what felt like
Except for your first fight in the
23, bro.
UFC.
Yeah,
Hey,
but even that
but
shit.
hold on. He hadn't
But
bloomed
that-
yet, maybe.
Yeah,
maybe that was just
yeah.
testing
Maybe
it,
that was
like,
just the start, dude.
his
We're about
pedals
to
are
blossom
opening.
out,
This
bro.
motherfucker's still
But go
expanding.
ahead.
Yeah. I mean,
What was that aha moment or 2 or 3 moments?
yeah. I guess like, I don't know. Like they're just like smaller moments that shape bigger ones. Like for instance,
Sure.
like
I
wrestling.
like the way you said that.
Wrestling was like a small aha moment for me. Just the act of like beginning wrestling, right?
Yeah.
Because like I always did this basketball shit, and I realized I was too short and I sucked. I was awful, and so then like I stopped doing that, got into wrestling, and like kind of found my tact in that, and it was like I'm not great, but I have the potential to be good. And honestly I was fucking
was in high
terrible
school?
out the gate. Yeah.
Okay.
Freshman year, first tournament. It was a takedown only tournament. Went against like 4 or 5 people,
Okay.
lost every single one, didn't score like a single takedown. There was like, I mean, man, there were kids that were practically like disabled. I mean, there's like frumpy, like some like pterodactyl arms and wings and shit. Yeah, they're like nuclear power plant kids that I was just fucking getting laid out by. And there's literally like I would slap their hand to start the match, and it's like my whole body would just rigor mortis. Like it was just like, and I'm done. And it was just like, okay, just fuck me, however you plan to. I'm here for the next 3 minutes. Yeah, have your way, dude. And so like,
No state
I guess
fingers,
that
please.
wasn't the aha moment, but
Yeah.
breaking through that shit,
was the
breaking
anti-aha
through
moment.
that shit. And then like having like the first duel we had against Churchill.
Sure.
Okay, won that duel, and I was like, let's fucking go, boy.
Yeah.
And like, and I was nervous about that shit the whole day. Came off that tournament, and I fucking came in and won this match. It was maybe like 3 weeks, 4 weeks later, but got some shit together. But then wrestling was kind of like a breakthrough for like, hey, dude, you can be good at something,
Oh yeah.
and you can be like an athlete, and
There you
it's
go.
pound for pound. So even though you haven't hit fucking puberty, you could fight other 100-pound kids that haven't either and do all right, or maybe they
Okay.
have and they just aren't that big, you know?
Yeah.
That's what's
But-
cool about fighting. Like it's
Yeah.
all pound for pound.
It's
pound for
very
pound.
close,
It's
very
like-
close,
it's
unless you
like-
decide
yeah,
to get
it's-
wild and
yeah,
like,
sure.
hey, I'm gonna go
Sure.
up.
Yeah,
and they're
yeah,
like,
yeah,
come
yeah.
on up, brother. I've been
Right.
sitting
Hey,
right
Canelo.
here.
Yeah,
Like-
but yeah, so I mean, wrestling was kind of like a breakthrough thing for me, especially as I got bigger and better at it. You know, like in my junior, senior years, it was like, I mean, that was life. We traveled nationally, compete on national tournaments, spent my whole time doing it.
And this is
Cut
for
some mad weight.
what high school?
This is Reagan High School.
Reagan what? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
The what?
The-
Are
Oh,
we-
is that Reagan?
the
Reagan
Rattlers
Rattlers?
up?
My
The
bad.
Rattlers
Hey,
up?
I love-
my bad. Go Rattlers.
I love that we've had like New Orleans
Shouts to the
Saints,
Rats, dude.
Carolina Panthers, UFC fighters, but
Right.
everybody's been to like one of 3 high schools around here.
Hey, that's
Yeah,
San
yeah.
Antonio, baby.
Sounds
I'm
good.
telling you,
Roll,
can we
man.
get somebody from Fossa Ridge, like
Nah.
Keller ISD,
We don't believe
something
in
like
that.
that?
We don't
Like,
believe in
Where's
that.
What's that?
up in Fort Worth. That's where I'm from.
Yeah, we don't believe in
No,
that.
that's
Yeah.
Fort Worth. That's Fort Worth.
Hey, with the anyway, so what's your
Carry
favorite?
on, sorry.
What's your favorite combat discipline that you do? Is it stand?
Or no, you were finishing.
Oh yeah, okay, okay, yeah,
No, my bad.
Breakthrough moments though. I mean, man, I don't even know. I don't know what I'm going on about wrestling. 'Cause I guess I'm really not. That wasn't really like. deep
Well, yeah,
into it.
that- I mean, that had to show
It changed
you-
some lives, but what that also did though was kind of put me in this runner-up position, man.
Okay.
Like I always choked on the big matches, and I was fucking legit. Like I had friends that went D1, D2, D3, and then they'd always come back and train with me. I got to make quick.
He's all. I don't know if y'all knew.
Yeah.
I made it to the UFC.
Yeah.
I was a fucking legit wrestler.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say something like, I don't know if you knew, my buddy went to Wisconsin. I took him down once, so that might be on record somewhere.
I was legit.
So he's like, so what's up, Cormier? You want something?
Yeah. No, but I always bombed like the big matches. Well, I got a buddy right now who trains with me. You know, he's one of my good friends, and we were like arch nemesis in senior year. Had like 3 face-offs, and like I would always, I would always just like sabotage. As my dad said it, like you'd wrestle not to lose instead of wrestle to win. I'd get up in a match, I'd be winning, and then by the 3rd round, I'd start playing so conservatively and being so cautious that like the guy would just obviously be hungry. He's got to come back in the 3rd round, and he'd take it from me. And so that was like this like mark I had on myself of like, fuck, dude, you're just not the champ. Like you're never a champ. There's a couple times where I became the champ in some tournaments and some like ones I was proud of, but like never the biggest fucking ones that I wanted most. And so for like the longest time, it was like you just like you don't show out. And so I found fighting, and I started getting into it, and I was good at it. And it was really easy too, because when you have a big foundation like wrestling or something that you're really good at, most of these fuckers aren't. And so you just run through the amateur leagues, and you can like get through pro pretty easy too. And so like I was having these moments, but like I had this injury that like into college. So then I was kind of like in this weird limbo state where it was like, okay, I didn't know what I know now, but it was like, okay, I just need to use this degree. I need to do something with my life 'cause I'm not training.
What was your degree in?
Finance. So I just like defaulted to finance degree at UTSA because I didn't know what the fuck else I wanted to do, and I just figured I was going to fight forever. And then did this finance thing, got into a job as a
I like
front
hearing like
desk.
finance.
Yeah,
Whatever.
I was like the front desk secretary chick. I was just doing like, I'm younger for my age, and I graduated early, and so I didn't feel bad about having this super like just like kind of really entry level bottom feeder.
Yeah,
kind
why
of
would
job.
you?
Right. Well, because most of my buddies would probably graduate and have like a pretty solid
True.
job.
I see what you're saying. Yeah,
So I
you
just
gotta have
graduated, and it's
finance,
just
you're-
kind of
yeah.
like, and I didn't know what to do with it. And I was just connecting with a family friend. He's like, well, this is how I got the job. He was like, I got a buddy who does, he's a stockbroker in Tennessee, and then I got, he was a real estate broker of Keller Williams. This guy Craig Owen, shout out to Craig Owen.
Shout
Oh,
out Craig.
I know
Owen.
Craig.
shout out
Yeah,
Craig.
what's up?
Yeah, he's a
Hustler,
boss.
baby.
Yeah, boss. I'm talking about Hustlers Huddle. Yeah, that
Yeah.
motherfucker's a hustler, dude. That's a boss of San Antonio right there. And he,
City View, right? I think.
yeah, well, he's
Anyway.
got the Keller Williams Heritage and the City View. And
Heritage
I think he
is-
might have relinquished parts.
Anyway,
Doesn't
he's
matter.
somewhere.
Yeah, he's killing
He
it.
does all right.
He's killing it. Yeah. And so, biggest real estate companies in the city. And he's like, well, do you know what a loan officer is? I connected with those guys too. I had no idea what a loan officer was. The average age is 52 years old. So, hit up the loan officer, hit up the stockbroker. Stockbroker never answers. Loan officer calls me back. So the rest was kind of history off there. Started out as a front desk chick, worked my way into the back. I was like a processor, loan officer assistant. Finally became this LO. And like, I really got into that job. Like, I was like, this is actually maybe what I could do. Because at the time, all I wanted to do is be successful. Like,
Well, and
success is what
the
drove me.
housing
like,
market in San Antonio. I mean,
popping
you're
off,
probably
too.
killing it.
Super dope. I did eventually kill the fuck. I just murdered that bitch outright. OJ style.
shop were you
buried
with?
The gloves and took off to the UFC. Huh?
What shop were you with?
So I was at Gold Financial Services, and then
Okay,
I
cool.
moved over to Premier Nationwide Lending. A little bit
All
more,
right,
more
cool.
cliche,
There you go.
but I always liked Gold too. Pretty prestigious sounding name. But if you're trying to get loans,
It's cool.
Thrive Mortgage, Thrive Financial. Those are the boys. Shout out to those guys
Right
too.
on. This is
Uh,
no, go ahead.
but yeah,
we got
so-
the homie Supreme.
I'm dying a little bit inside, but I'm like, you know what? It's not about me. This is a networking podcast show about you.
shit, Scotty, think
Hey,
about where we're
that's cool.
at, bro.
Hey, bro, I believe in
Hey, cool
abundance.
story, bro.
dude.
Just come into our
My
house.
bad, dude. I'm over here dropping.
Hey,
names
why
at
don't
your
you
house, dude.
wipe your feet off before you step in my
we
house,
broke,
bro?
Yeah, we broke.
That's all good, man. Like,
but the whole
what-
point of all this shit that I'm going on about is that like that gave me this avenue of confidence where like I'm this fucking kid, and again I look like an infant always, and so I'm with all these motherfuckers that are like in their 50s, 40s, and they're successful, and I'm trying to garner their business, and I'm trying to convince these assholes that like I'm credible somehow. Like, oh yeah, I know all about owning a house. Like, no, I fucking don't. Bro. I make rent on my apartment, dude. I sold weed all through college, bro. I don't know anything about owning a fucking house. Like I don't know anything about that. So I'm here, and I'm like, okay, well, time to fill in
but
some
you know about
big boy
finances.
shoes. No, yeah, and what it was
Obviously.
is like I had to fill in some big boy shoes, and then whenever that Premier Nationwide Lending job opened up, I went over there and I had to fill huge shoes. Like on the interview process, talking to like the real estate broker that we were going to be partnered with most, and JB Goodwin, it was like, hey, we're going to be doing economic forecast meetings every week and be able to run those. And I'm just like, economic, yeah, what do you want me to talk about? What are the economy?
You're all like
Okay,
the
word.
economy and the weather.
Yeah,
and shit?
totally. Yeah, I got you,
bro,
bro.
it's gonna be cool.
I got
He's
that.
fucking like
Like, I
33
literally
degrees.
just
like-
got in. I closed maybe 5 deals, and then I went over to this company where I was super underqualified for, but just figured like, fuck it, sink or swim, and bitch, we're not drowning. So like, let's go get it. So, and I did, dude. And I crushed it over there. And that right there, being able to fill those shoes and do the job I did was like,
Give you the confidence.
like, yeah,
you
like
needed.
in my own right, like you're a G, dude. And you know what? No matter what, like you've got this fucking job where you're just stacking weight, and
Yeah.
you can do that on Monday. That's what you're gonna do. And like you like this shit, and you want to own a fucking bank at the end of this motherfucker. So do that.
Hell yeah.
That's what I was gonna do. I own my own fucking bank, and that's what I was on. And like really, the fighting thing kind of like fell to the wayside because like the last fights I had were I won, but it was like the most anxiety, shitty, stressful, just shit-ridden thing I'd experienced. I was like, dude, I don't want to do this anymore. So I focused on the business, and the business thing happened, and that was like a breakthrough in itself. Me being successful in that business.
So do you find, and I don't want to paint with a broad brush here, but I feel like that's probably not the norm amongst fighters to where they have that background already and the financial savvy
No.
and kind of the marketing. Am I right in that
No,
assumption?
yeah, a lot of fighters are simple, and that's why.
Man, that's
you know,
a
most of
good
them don't do
adjective.
well.
That's
Yeah.
what I would have. Yeah.
Yeah, simple, one-dimensional, and single-minded.
They're here to fight.
Yeah,
That's that.
and the best in the world aren't.
So
And
from
that's-
the
that's what
business
separates.
standpoint, I know Chris kind of alluded to it earlier of fighting, right? Of the UFC. I mean, let's be honest, at the
Yeah.
end of the day, it's a business,
Yeah,
right? Like you're
100%.
here to get paid. Winning equals better pay, better performance, so on and so forth. How do you take that background, that degree in finance, the confidence that you can slay it in the business world with the best of them, take that into the UFC and parlay that into even greater success?
Well, dude, it taught me to be a good speaker for one. like I would run these meetings where I'm speaking in front of like 60 or so people, and
And
a lot
that's,
of
I
them
mean,
made
to
a
give
fuckload
that,
of money, and they're all, my parents' age or older,
Yeah.
and I have to crush
a
those
lot of
meetings.
people
And
can't do that, man.
no, I know,
Mhm.
and that's the thing I did. And there was one time where JB himself was there, and I fucking bombed the meeting so bad. I literally, I got like just ghost face Casper. I'm like, and I had no words, completely fried.
What
all words.
happened?
The president there, he's like, well, yeah, it's all right. Maybe next week you have something. I'm like, no, shut Reagan. No.
No.
Got
What
it.
happened with you? Why'd you bomb? Why'd you go Ghostface?
I was
Yo, don't
driving.
blame it on the
was when
president,
I was splitting my time out of Austin, and I was driving in from. I had a place in Austin, and I was
Say no more, friend.
Yeah, yeah,
Say
yeah.
no
Yeah,
I
more.
was coming in.
We're there. We're there.
You're spending time in
I
Austin.
popped an
Gotcha.
Adderall Tuesday morning, drove in at 5 a.m.
that
and
Adderall.
I came up with this. I mean, killer speech, like a bomb ass
At 5
introduction.
a.m.
And then I was on the drive back. I'm right. And I'm like thinking about topics, what's relatable. Okay, so every story had some kind of funny personal introduction. So the personal touch. I segued into the mortgage knowledge, so then I'm credible. And then I'd close out with just one final pitch, but it was a well balanced thing of humor, personal ability, and knowledge.
I was going to say, I like
And
the presentation
I
layout.
slaved
Yeah.
every single time. If I didn't leave that bitch with high fives at the locker room like I was Tom Brady, I felt like a loser. I felt like a loser that whole day. And
So-
that was one of my really low days. But that shit right there, that taught me to I could talk in front of anybody. I can handle myself in front of anybody. I do major deals in front of with big wig people, and I make a fuckload of money. So I don't need to worry about any
You're
of this
not
shit.
concerned.
I don't need to worry.
I don't want you to scratch over that though. Like this dude is not only one of the fiercest fighters, could beat you up and take your girl, right?
Yeah.
But he'll take your
But
money too.
He'll take your money, he'll use it, he'll finance it, help you get into a house.
Yeah,
talk in front of people,
yeah.
Convince 50-year-olds
Loan
to I mean, this guy is teaching you how to sell.
Yeah.
I said that really weird. How to sell.
How to
He can
sell.
teach you how to
It's Fort
sell.
Worth, baby.
And I don't know.
Hey,
I
this
got my
is
southern accent.
This
I
is a perfect segue because I do a little mini segment called Dario Halftime Dimes. No, this is perfect. This is
Hit me
perfect.
with it.
I trust.
I know because the word of today is relativity in numbers. All right, we're going to associate UFC with the three major sports: football, basketball, baseball.
Which is what's going on right now?
Relativity in numbers.
what-
No,
but
it's
the
over. It's
sports-
over.
it's
World
over.
Series is over, bro.
We're out of the
Who won the
Equinox. 'cause,
trifecta?
Well, no, I mean it's not.
Who won?
It's not playing right now. But
Yeah.
hear me out.
Walgreens.
Hear me out.
Walgreens, yeah, that's right.
Walgreens won.
Walgreens.
Yeah,
That's
Washington
funny.
Nationals. No. But hear me out. You're gonna
No,
like
go for it.
you're gonna like where this goes, right? 16 NFL games, 82 basketball, 162 in baseball. So in any given year, an average NFL team has about 1,200 plays,
Crazy.
right? In any given year, average basketball team has about 9,000 shots,
Hmm.
right? In any given year or average year, any baseball team has about 25 to 24,000 pitches.
Wow.
You see
Yeah,
that
baseball
disparity?
is,
Yeah, yeah.
16, 82, 162. So that just goes to highlight how important one football play is compared to a baseball pitch, or one basketball shot is compared to one football play.
Right.
So since we have a professional UFC fighter, do you get quantifiable about the numbers of energy output that you put, meaning punches, takedowns, kicks, et cetera, especially with your numbers and your finance
that
background.
finance background, he's an all
You know, it's
KPIs,
just no, but
bro.
it's
I
a
get
real
bothered by the
question because you have to
responses.
be
Yeah.
you have to be calculated, and especially per our conversation earlier, that growth you had from Cowboy, as opposed to just going out juggernaut, being poised, cliche Marine Corps quote, slow, smooth, fast,
Yeah.
being in a moment,
Said that a time
feeling
too.
it out, and growing as a fighter from then. How calculated are you in your numbers, in your energy and your energy output in the octagon?
Well, that's the kind of shit that I'm trying to figure out right now, bro. Because especially if you ask me on that cowboy period, I'd be like, dog does. I have no fucking clue. I'm in there throwing it down as many as it takes. I'm more concerned about the response of those shots.
Sure.
If it takes 2 shots to do one's bidding, then that's what I'm throwing. If it takes,
Yeah.
if I consolidate that on one, then fucking perfect. I love to spend less time in here. And so that's the way it was before. Then I try to be a little bit more composed about it. And this last fight was difficult because I had one arm.
So when you watch film, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah.
How many? But I did. How many
And I
punches?
want to
do you-
apologize.
Yeah. How many punches do you throw in a round?
I don't know what my average count is.
Okay,
man.
all right,
I have
that's
no
fair.
idea. You know what the funny thing is? All the finance shit, dude. I'm a people person. Like business is about building relationships, and that's what
True.
the fuck I do.
I
as
feel
a
that. I'm the
boss.
same way.
And
Right.
so all the numbers, man. That's why I hire secretaries, assistants, and fucking
Yeah.
processors for. You know, I don't like those numbers. I hate doing analytical work. I fucking hate it.
Okay.
You know what I hate doing, bro? I hate opening up an email in the day. I hate looking at my fucking phone, especially now in my life. Forget about it, dude. So Chris talking about,
well, thanks for
Chris
replying
talking
to
about
us,
like some kind of email today, and I'm like, dude, emailed who, motherfucker? Like, don't worry about me, dude. I'm not gonna check it. Yeah, I just don't
feel
like
that.
to. And so for me, like, I'm not about numbers. I'm about action though, and
Sure.
and then I'll document. Something I am trying to do better job though is like, maybe not over quantifying some things and like beating the numbers black and blue, but like going back and being in the moment of those fights and taking note of where I'm at, because there was a point up until like even the Cerrone fight where like I didn't want to revisit my fight. I don't care to listen to my interviews. I don't care to look at myself. I don't care to look at any of that shit.
Gotcha.
I'm just constantly like forward. And so when I'm going back and look at it, it's like sometimes it kind of bothers me, or I'm such a skeptic that I pick it to pieces and then I end up just like
You're your own worst critic.
yeah. I end up beating it up so much that it's like I can't even enjoy it anymore. But I found that like it's so fucking necessary, because there were things that I was doing in that fucking Mercier fight that were obviously going to happen in the Cerrone fight, but I was like too reluctant, too scared to face those things, because I was
And
just
you
like
just wanna
scared.
keep
I was
swinging,
scared
go
of the
forward,
imperfection.
whatever.
Yeah, and so I make the same mistakes.
Mm.
And so like something I'm trying to do for the sake of controlling the nerves, as well as being honest with yourself and seeing your mistakes from a bird's eye view, is like revisit those moments as much as possible. Take note of what I'm doing. What is the quantity of output? And maybe not like to an exact decimal, but like, what's the flow look like?
Yeah.
How's your demeanor? How's your posture? What's your cadence like whenever you're moving? And like how are you poising yourself? Are you in good cardio, position throughout the first second? Are you blowing your load by the third? Where are you at? How in control do you look? And that's something I'm trying to start looking at and being like, okay, and dude, I'm such a visual learner also, that when I see shit like that, when I see anybody, it's like, okay, I'm gonna start doing that, and I can look just like them. And so when I see myself, it's like, fuck, that looked ugly. Don't do that again. And then it's like I'll find myself in practice like, okay, shut that shit off. Right now. Shut that shit off right
But
now.
it's that mental
Yes,
note.
it's those reps. And so you have to kind of face those really dark moments that maybe you don't want to revisit, of like mistakes on your part. But God, it's good to dwell in those moments, because you won't be scared of those emotions next time. And then you can also take note of when it's about to come about. Like, okay, what are the cues to me making this error again?
My own boxing coach used to say, "You already fucked up. You want to do it again?"
Yeah.
It's
straight
like
up.
his point was, you've already done it. You've already
Yeah.
messed up. You want to revisit it?
Right.
We can revisit it here. Watching you get hit this is how your nose got broke. You dropped your hand, you dropped your right because you got tired, and then he was swinging and you kind of moved right into his hook, and your nose got smashed. Right.
Yeah.
You're already there. Do you want to go back there in the fight, or you want to go back there right now and learn from it?
Right.
That's his point.
Well, and it's like that failing forward, right? Like you got to go
Right.
back to see where you failed to be able to move forward.
Right.
And if you're not willing to reconcile with yourself, I mean, I think what you said about the Cerrone fight's quintessential example of that, right? To the point where
Nice
you literally
word.
had to go back. Yeah, I pulled that
Good.
out, bro.
Bro, let me
That's what you were on
tear
your
this
phone back
page
there
off
for a little bit.
I could
dictionary.
Yeah, he was
Good
on his
word.
phone over there for a
Hey,
I
second.
could have used some other
Essential.
lame adjective, but I got the thesaurus up, so I figured we'd use it. But no, so going back to my point that I forgot, no, but
Well,
I'm
that's
saying
not very
the
quintessential.
rewiring of your brain, right?
Yeah.
Rewiring to be able to, if you wouldn't have gone back and noticed the way you fought, if you wouldn't have gone back and understood those areas of opportunity,
Right.
you wouldn't have been able to make those adjustments that were necessary for you to be able to be competitive and
Right.
ultimately triumphant in your
Yeah.
next fight.
And now to that point, it's like, okay, like last night on this fucking late night documentary video spree I was on, right? My buddy hadn't seen the Notorious documentary. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing in this game, bro? So we pull that up and we're watching, and we both got erections and we're just fucking talking. And I'm like in between stuff, we're like pausing it to pull up clips of something that we need to see to like, so I can like relate it to
To validate it?
Yeah. And he makes a comment of pretty much what I just said about needing to revisit those moments, so that way you're used to those moments. They're not unfamiliar whenever you step in under the lights. And I was like, God damn it, I've been needing to look at this fight. I've been avoiding it. I'm pausing it right there, and I pulled it up and started watching it. It's like you have to, yeah, you have to revisit and you just have to educate. And like even if it's, I mean, the shit you don't want to learn or see, it's like you just gotta.
Hey, so I want to bring it up since you kind of hit on the Notorious thing, right? So one of the things Chris and I were talking about earlier in the week was I hated seeing the hate that came towards you when you started kind of boasting talking transparent about what you intended to do with your business, right?
Yeah.
But like we both talked about, one as a fighter, how could you not? Because
You have to believe it.
You have to
it's like
believe
a
that
rapper.
shit,
It's
man.
like
Yeah.
You can't go
you're
in
not gonna be a
thinking-
rapper and be like, yeah, I'm the second best, but I might get this guy on this battle. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
You got to truly believe it. But then, two, going back to the bottom line, the business, the marketing component. Look, man, that's not bad for business.
No.
Like if people hate you, but then more people are watching you and more people know your name, more people are following you because of that, you're still growing that brand, right?
Yeah, there's so many things. So, one, it ain't tricking if you got it. That's what it is. These fucking retards trying to come in and talk their talk and like go out of their lane to speak. It's like, okay, you can't talk like I talk. So if you speak the way I speak,
I love watching these guys that come in.
Say that shit,
Yeah.
Right.
and you can tell.
Twitter guy.
Yeah,
hey,
you
why
can
are
tell when
talking
it's
that way?
genuine, and you can tell when it just flows off the cup. I mean, I've never heard anybody dismantle another human being like that verbally. So it's like, appreciate that shit and just keep pressing purchase on the pay-per-view, dude. That's what you're doing.
That's exactly right.
Like, and whoever wants to talk is like, motherfucker, you ate that up and you got that much more excited.
Literally.
You bought that extra handle, that extra case, and you got fucking yoked, that extra bag of weed, and you fucking rolled over to your homie's house and you got lit up for that fight. Okay, you love that shit. Two, it's a fucking fight. It's not.
All that shit's going out the window.
People want to like embrace this like tradition of, oh well, be respectful like from the fucking kibukaza, the fucking Japanese way. I'm like, these are fighters. Athletes do not survive in the fight game. They pull out, they quit. It's not a bout of athleticism.
It's about fighting.
It's a fucking.
It's a mentality.
Fight.
A warrior
I mean,
mentality.
it is to the bone of fight. It was bred on fighters. People that went in there were just two people beating the shit out of each other. Grace came in, put some technical elegance on it. It is a fight, and it's like when people get twisted. It's like, oh, it needs to be a bout of like athleticism in sports. Like, no, you hear people say all the time, this man's coming in to kill me.
Yep.
And everybody's they're in there. I want to kill him. He wants to kill me. And like when it gets down to it, that is what's trying to happen. He's swinging like his entire fucking family's lives are on the line. We are fighters. And so for you to tell me I need to not approach this like I'm going to war or trying to dismantle a man mentally before I break him physically, go fuck yourself and sit where I've sat or stand where I've stood.
Dude,
what I mean? It's a fighter's
Or
fight.
stand across from me in the octagon. You're correcting real quick.
You talked quite a bit about you've alluded to the boys, my boys, whatever. So I'm assuming that you've had some boys that you've grown up with. You said one of them was a wrestling competitor that's now your trainer.
Yeah. So I mean, so many guys I've got. As far as the wrestlers go, yeah, there's a couple buddies that we grew up. One's a good friend of mine that we grew up together. He moved over to Wisconsin for a scholarship. He's fighting. He just fought in the PFL. Have you guys kept up with that at all?
No.
So PFL is a crazy fucking promotion. They do like $1 million contracts for the winner. And there's a playoffs. He was just in the playoffs. He had 2 fights in one fucking night. Won the first one, lost close second to the guy the champ who won last year, and he's going to the finals. But that's a buddy of mine who's he's a training partner of mine, a close friend of mine. And then I've got guys, another guy who you're referring to. We grew up as adversaries, but he lives in Austin. And he's a homie that I hit up when I went up there, and we started wrestling together. And he's a cool ass dude. And so he's always in my camps. He's always wrestling. He's always training with us. He gets into shape. And that's the thing too. Everybody gets into shape, and that's something that I really like applaud on the Diaz thing. You talk about the Diaz army, and when he gets into camp, he's got on a normal night, you've got 4 or 5 guys lingering around and training with him because they train these late nights. They train these 10 p.m. to 1 a.m.
Yeah, he's waking up.
These 10 p.m. to 1 a.m. type sessions where he likes to train. And he's like, when it's camp, there's 20, 25 guys out there.
All of them are doing it.
Yeah, and they're staying out there till 2 a.m. and that's what we're doing. It's like that shit gets me fucking fired. And so that's the kind of shit though. Whenever I start getting to camp, it's like everybody gets into camp.
The reason I was asking is, have you been in a situation, given that warrior mentality going into every fight, right? Given the loyalty that you have to your boys and all of that, have you had to fight somebody that you consider a close friend or one of your boys?
Oh no.
No, okay.
Yeah.
Because to me, I see that sometimes where you see or you read about the headline of like these guys are partners, they go way back and they get put on a card together. And I'm like, man, I don't know.
That can
how
happen
you
when
would
you
approach
change.
that mentally.
You can change camps, and that's when you see that shit happen.
Yeah.
Sometimes,
Most
you know?
guys try to avoid. I would never fight. Like people joke about like, oh, would you ever fight Gilpin? That's Alex Gilpin's my homie. Who's he fights 145 and
shout out Alex.
Yeah, shout out Alex. And we can always kind of dance around each other's weights too. So people are like, I was like, oh yeah, did you fight Alex? Like, nah, I'd never fight Alex. Like there would never be a point where I would like where I would need to or where like we would.
Right.
You know, I mean, you even look at like something like Khabib's camp. So Khabib's a champ at 155. He's got one of the most stacked schools there at AKA. Just a bunch of guys always fly in there and train at those gyms. But one of his Daggy bros was I don't know what the fuck this guy's name. I forget. It's another dude at 155. He's top 15 maybe. Man, I've been saying Sabit so much lately because he just fought, but I don't know. I can't get him crossed. But another dude. Oh, Islam Makhachev. Islam Makhachev. So he's a 55er, and that dude's on a hot spree right now. He's killing it. And so like for him to be looking at the belt like that's all he wants. Well, he's like one of his best buddies and his teammates, the champ.
That he's got to take from that dude.
Yeah. So it's like, you know, that's an actual conundrum. And really, they've got that shit even lined out where it's like, dude, I'm going to be retired by the time you come up here. So, you know, that's the thing. It's like, and even when buddies are like close next to each other in a camp, there's so many ways to finagle. And like we kind of alluded to earlier, it's so political, popular consensus, what the people want. So it's like, dude, you can navigate your way around anything
for sure.
Any opponent.
It's like politics, man.
Yeah.
Like,
that's what
I'm going to run this year. It'll be yours in 2 years.
Yeah, exactly. And also just the idea that's like, yeah, I'll you know meander my way around my buddy, and then he can do his thing. And if you guys are both coming up at the exact, you know, generally one kind of might have a fall. You know, something happens.
Sure. Yeah.
You know. So.
Well, and especially in a sport like that where injury is so prone, there's so many variables.
Shit happens.
I mean, in
so
the case of yours, you had the person that was going to fight drop out, right, for your initial fight that you got called up for on short notice.
Right. Yeah. The 7-day notice was some fucking.
I don't think people understand this, dude. I feel like
about that.
I feel like I come from a boxing background. I started boxing when I was 17. I made a pro run at it. I got ended a lot quicker in my pro career. Lost my first pro fight because I didn't do like you did. I scaled back. I was a point fighter. I was not a KO guy. I was not a KO king. I had really fast hands.
Unlike me, man.
But not knockout power.
One-handed.
So I would score, control the center of the ring, do my thing, and then I left it up to the judges on my first and only pro fight. And guess what happened? The judges didn't think I performed, and so I lost. And in boxing, when you lose, they take you off. They want to give you a screening, and they were like, "Hey, bro, you don't got peripheral anymore." I'm like, "Oh, is that a problem?" I'm like, yeah, it's a big.
Check that vision.
I know, like as you can see, like so when that happened, it was like you're done.
Damn,
was
there like a specific shot or what happened?
No, so it's kind of like I was told it was boxer syndrome, which is kind of like I guess a version of the CTE shit or whatever. It's just brain damage that you get from taking hits, and it progresses slower or faster in some athletes. It can spawn into other things. They say Muhammad Ali's Parkinson's disease is an offshoot from it, and things like that.
Sure.
So they're saying, hey, look, you got your retina is filling with a jelly or detaching or something like that, and it's not
the way that
talking to your brain, right? And so I'm slowly getting I'm Looney Tunes over here. My eyes are just.
I don't think that was slowly, bro. You've been Looney Tunes over here. How did that happen?
But that said, enough about that. Like,
go back to
people don't realize the amount of training that comes into it. A lot of times when I was getting prepared for a fight, it was I stayed ready, but I'm going to put an asterisk next to that because I stayed ready skill wise. I didn't stay ready weight wise. I had to come down to my weight. I didn't stay ready diet wise. I didn't stay ready cardio wise. I wasn't ready to step into a ring. Most times we did a 12-week camp, and I had a question. First off, how long is your camp? But B, I probably know the answer to this. This dude stays ready. He was ready to take a fight within 7 days.
My camp is 7 days.
Yeah. Well, before, I mean, I appreciate that, but before you completely blow me off, I was preparing for a fight. So what happened? I quit my job.
We'll edit that part out. He wasn't preparing, bro. He just stayed ready.
Stays ready. I do stay ready though. What I was gonna say is, and this kind of goes back to what Dario was talking about, like those breakthrough moments. I quit that mortgage job.
Mm-hmm. Turn that mic a little bit.
Yeah.
There you go.
Quit that mortgage job like end of December, beginning of January, like right at the new year. And I just had this epiphany, like fuck it all. And it was
Hell of an epiphany.
yeah, it was after
That's a good one.
I had a breakthrough fight shortly after really taking off in the mortgage business, and then LFA, this nationally televised promotion, comes into town, and they're like, hey, here's the number 4 dude in the state versus you. Do you want it? My coach is like, well, you gotta take it, dude. It's in your backyard. It's a great fight. It's televised. I'm like, okay, sure. Hang up. I'm what the fuck did I
Where did
just
these
do
guys
that?
fight? Were
Why
these
fuck
like
did I
the
just do that?
Cowboys fights?
This was a Cowboys fight, but it was
Okay,
nationally
cool.
televised on LFA. LFA is like a great feeder to the UFC.
I've seen a couple of those
Yeah.
back in the day.
It's
So,
even on the video
ESPN
game.
used
I
to
played
do
the
quite a
video
bit.
game.
Yeah,
when
yeah,
they were
yeah.
starting the
So
elevate.
at the entry release. Yeah, what the fuck do they use for that? I don't even remember what it's called, but yeah, good promotion. Anyway, so brought me back to like
Good
grandma's
times.
house playing the fucking
Right.
top of the little corridor when I was living there for a little bit. Yeah. Getting some fucking head and playing UFC.
I mean, he plays his a little bit next level.
Abuela, sorry.
Man, what the fuck was I going on about before?
No,
that?
man, sorry.
Oh, so
getting ready.
yeah, no.
It can't.
LFA fight happened. That was a huge breakthrough for me because I went and popped off. And so at that point, I was like, you know what? I need to go ahead and fucking do this damn thing. Tore my bicep, had to bounce back from that, but I was so focused. It's like, fuck it, bicep's just another day at work. So I got the bicep better, did another big ass fight, and that's what put me on the radar for the UFC thing. Decide, fuck it, I'm gonna quit my job. The fight was like in November. Quit the job by like January 1st. I was out the door, and at that point, it was like I was already in this kind of like you're just grinding mode. But once I quit, it was like, dude, you're extra monk mode. Like now you're just in this monk mode of, I mean, you're fucking, you're not, I don't want to say celibate, but I was definitely, prohibition, and I was all that shit. Like I was just full on diet, was 100%. And really, I always eat clean, but it was like I tightened up a lot of things, like just completely removing pretty much any starch but sweet potatoes. And I was on this ultra paleo diet, training my dick off, and putting everything in a place. And my grandfather was like, well, how long are you gonna do this shit for before you're like, okay, I need to, get back to a real job? And I'm like, dude, as long as, don't worry about that, man. Like, you don't worry about that. Let me worry about that. I'll do it for as long as it takes. It's not gonna take long. Don't worry.
Dude, that's
about
so
it.
Fernando.
Yeah. You know, Nando. Yeah.
Hey,
But I'll tell you what.
where's the money,
Meanwhile,
man?
yeah,
What are you
after your first
come
win,
on,
you're like,
Nando.
hey,
Yeah.
I just bought myself some time.
Yeah. And you know what though? What was cool? I remember at Christmas though, he was like, "Hey, I'm proud of you," because he always had this idea of like wanting to be like a jet pilot, and we had the family and the abuela and all the little niños that followed, and so it was like, I kind of got to the business route. But he always thought about that. And he was like, "I'm glad you're fucking doing that," and I'm like, "All right, real talk, man."
They typically
And
are,
so-
man. Once they figure out like that you're just happy
Yeah,
doing
yeah,
what you
yeah.
were doing, they
Yeah.
they want a
And
idea
successful.
for you. They want a
Yeah.
path, the success.
Yeah.
It's not so much it has to be that
and it's
path.
so like beautiful and purposeful when you're chasing a passion.
For
It's
sure.
like
Yeah.
versus just doing whatever you could be doing. And so, fucking, I like 8 weeks on a fight camp is what I really like to prefer. But again, I'm always in this idea that like whatever fight comes, I'm cool because I try to stay within. Like if I'm 20, it's because I'm like the 20 I want to be. But generally, I'm between 15 and 20 pounds out all the time, but solid, lean.
You're top.
Looking
You're
right.
you're up, obviously, right?
Yeah.
So you're
75,
75 right now, yeah.
So like right now I'm like 75,
yeah.
74. But
How
I'm
much is
also,
that
I've
water,
also been
6
trying
or
to
7?
put on. Nah, I mean you could drop
Yeah.
as much water as you fucking need to. As much
Yeah,
water
but
as
it's
you
not.
should
It's
drop.
not fun.
As much water as you should drop. I'm still playing with that number.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, we're trying to figure that out.
Seriously, like
Mine was 6
I think I was
in 24.
I think I've been losing a little too little, if anything. I think I've been getting down too quick, and the diet. Like I've just been too true. I've been losing weight almost too easily, and so I need to stay bigger for longer and cut more water. Maybe that's.
So what do you
Maybe
do
that's
to
even
the
up to, like,
sauna?
10 pounds a
Just
day, I
sweat
don't
it
know.
out.
I mean,
Running,
you gotta-
obviously, all
you
that
gotta
kind of
pay
stuff.
for these trade book secrets, but
Hey,
a lot
we're
of
here
things,
now.
We'll talk about it. It's not fun.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm like
I
a
didn't
salt
enjoy it.
bass. I mean, really, you want to limit the amount of activity you're doing because you're in a depleted state. So by the time
Energy input versus output.
by the time the
Of course,
water
yeah.
comes into place, it's like I don't want to be running and doing all this shit. I want to try to do as minimal as possible.
That makes sense.
Epsom salt baths, and then I like throw on the suit and do some light like combative rounds.
Yeah, when I was in the Marine Corps, I walk around currently at about 215, but
Okay,
I earned my brown belt in McMap. I mean, it's nothing
Brown belt in what?
McMap, Marine Corps Mixed Martial Arts.
Okay.
Oh, that's cool.
And
Okay.
so I fought about 183 and 184.
Hey, what is that? They teach you how to load a fucking AR-15?
No. It was a combination of jiu-jitsu, karate,
That's awesome.
so on and so forth. But my question is, what's your or one of your few favorite fight movies and training sequences in a movie?
Dude, so The Matrix is probably one of the greatest movies of all time.
Oh, I was not expecting
and
that.
as far as fight movies,
They're working on
like,
Matrix
Okay.
4.
You're gonna change the name to the one?
I don't even
Okay.
want to hear that they're working on a Matrix. I heard about that and I'm like, man, just
They
let
should
it,
just leave it.
let it
This is
ride.
just
It's a
bro.
trilogy, bro.
And,
Matrix
like,
is my favorite trilogy ever.
It's
It's my favorite
dude,
trilogy.
That's my
ever.
favorite first movie in
Papa,
a trilogy.
Yo, preach. Okay, my man. Dude.
No, that's the best trilogy ever. No,
It's
hands
the
I was gonna say,
best
I can't think of a
trilogy
better one
ever,
off the
bro.
top.
Fuck that.
Yeah,
Like the
it's-
third Matrix was like Dragon Ball Z real time. Like fuck that show. That
Yeah,
was
yeah,
not
yeah.
a good film.
Yo, no. People kind of tripped
I'm gonna
about
disagree
people
with you
kind
on
of
that.
tripped about the Reloaded because it did get a little excessive with like the Smith multiplication.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
That
It's an
X
anthill
factor.
of Smiths.
Right, but the point behind it though, and it was more like that story behind there.
Mm.
Dude, that's deep, Daddy. That shit speaks volumes.
It really
That's
is.
you could stop at Matrix 1 and you'd be like, okay, we have some like proverbs to preach, but by the time you get to the third,
No,
by the time
for
you get to
real.
the third,
It's the best
bro,
trilogy. The
yeah, by the time
Wachowski
you get to the
brothers
third, it's like,
killed it.
oh, I mean, you even realize what the fuck's going on, dude. With like,
And you're like-
I mean, yeah, the humans are the fucking batteries, bro, and there's this giant, this giant fucking.
The only reason I think
machine
Matrix
anarchy.
4 might be okay.
If it's a completely new cast,
well,
nothing has
their
to.
sister's doing it, because the Wachowski brothers wrote it and produced it.
Right.
Their younger sister
I
is the
respect that.
producer of Matrix 4, or so I read.
Well, I'm down with it.
so
If
they're
it's
keeping
like,
it in the family.
If it's like a pre or post Neo thing, I better not see Keanu Reeves in that fucking movie. I mean,
I heard actually.
I think he's in it, man.
I heard
I'm
they
gonna
have
be
John
so
Wick.
upset. I was gonna
That's
say,
the,
if he rolls in,
I read something funny. They said John Wick was just Ted from Bill and Ted that went to military school.
He got all pissed off.
Hey, while we're on celebrities, real quick, I want to give a shout out to Ryan Reynolds' dog. No, this is like a serious story. There's a family friend of mine. Their daughter has cancer. 14 years old. She's dying. Weeks left, and she's
Man.
always loved Deadpool and llamas. And they decided to do a whatchamacallit, like a send-off party. And Ryan Reynolds showed up. Yeah, like, but it was
That was
Ryan Reynolds showed up as Deadpool with a llama
Oh,
to
that's
her
crazy.
send-off party, bro. It was
That's awesome.
dope. But I don't know why I thought of that. We're talking about action heroes and shit like
Right,
that. But I
right,
just
no,
wanted to
that's
give
big
it
time.
respect
Super
where it's
cool.
due, man.
Damn, send-off parties, dude. That's how
Is that deep? That's
That is
that's
really
Some,
deep.
I'm watching
There's a
Vikings
send-off
right
party, like, you cut
watching
cake? What the
Vikings.
fuck do you do at a
Oh,
send-off
some
party?
Viking stuff right
Till
there.
Valhalla, dog. Till
Really.
Yeah, I
Valhalla.
guess some Valhalla shit, man. Like
Some
for a
real
kid though,
War
it's
Warrior
like, yo,
shit.
what? All right, I mean, I guess you just
What-
do shit they want to do. You just bring crazy shit in.
Actually,
Yeah.
to show like how
Yeah,
cool this
yeah.
chick is, man, she was raising funds for another kid with cancer that had a chance to beat it. This 14-year-old send-off party was to raise
Wow,
funds
man.
for another kid.
We
That's
don't
cool.
realize, having children. Alex, you have a kid, right?
Absolutely not,
I thought I saw on. Is that who do you got on Instagram?
bro. I just milk my little sister.
Oh, there you go. All right,
There you
I
go.
see.
That was like the Bumble bro file for a bit. Yeah.
All right,
that was
all right, my
like-
bad, my
she's-
bad.
There you go.
No, she's
It
an
worked, it
instrument.
worked.
She's an
You fooled
instrument
me.
of the boy. No,
I like the absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
No, I was gonna say though, the kids, the younger generation, man, they really are. They think differently than us. They see a larger whole, right? They see the holistic approach to. They got to help each other
Yeah.
out. Like the individual shit. We're going out there killing each other.
Ah.
Fucking
Alex is over there like fucking boomers in here right now.
Yeah, okay, boomer, calm down.
I'm with it.
Yo, so I do have. We're gonna have to wrap up soon, man. This is
Yeah,
it's
for
been
sure.
a
It's been
fast
fun, man.
hour though,
It
for
is.
real.
I'm cool. I'm chilling too.
But
at this point.
I want to take
That's
a
all we
line
do.
from Fight Club and actually pose it as a question, man. If you could fight anybody in the course of history, who would it be?
Damn, I've never asked myself that. Is this
Fight Club's
is
another
this-
great
is
movie.
this-
Right, it's my Bible.
Fight Club's a
I
fucking
live my life
fantastic
by it.
movie,
Yeah.
and also that line where it's like the things you own tend to own you.
Yeah.
It's
I
like-
could quote the whole
Don't,
fucking.
don't get this
I'll
dude
get it
started,
going.
bro.
Book
We
is
got
great, but yeah, I don't
Yeah,
mean
and
to
that's
get
something I've learned to like. Okay, this is we'll get back to that. Maybe my subconscious will be thinking of a crazy answer by the time I get back to it. But that's something I've been thinking about a lot too. About I've been like questioning my reasons why on shit, dude. And
You got to find your way.
and like before, I was so much success driven. I didn't give a fuck if it was in finance or if it was in fighting or if it was anything. It was just like I just want to be successful. So I don't
Right.
care which one I do. I just need to pop off and be the best at it. I just need to be successful. I need to be the best. And now I care less and less about anything. I don't care about like fucking. I don't care about owning shit. I don't even care about like people's perspective of like my success. I mean, sometimes I'm kind of like, what the fuck are you doing things for? And it's like I do want to be the best. I want to be the champ. And I think maybe that I don't know, dude. I get through these like wild wormholes of just like, and I think it's a question of before it was like success, and it's like how did I define success, and so now it's kind of redefining success because before it was like the attainment of shit,
Right,
and then
right,
like
right.
and then like the power of things, and now it's almost just like
What makes
abundant
you happy?
freedom.
Yeah, I think it's like
Freedom.
the older
Now-
you get too, the more you question that, and you
Yeah.
find yourself like what really fucks you up is when you say, "Why do I want
Yeah.
success? Why do I want to be the
Yeah,
best?"
yeah.
Like, period. End of story. Why
Yeah.
is this so important
You
to me?
know,
Right.
it's one of my favorite movies is Anger Management with Adam Sandler and Jack
Oh yeah,
Nicholson.
yeah, yeah.
No, I one of those that one scene. I think it's so beautiful, and I think it's so simple, but so many people can't put their finger on it. He's like, "Well, tell me who you are." He's like, "Oh, well, I work in advertising." This and no, not your
Know
job.
what you do.
Right.
Tell me who you are.
Yeah.
He's like, "I play tennis from time to time." No, not your hobbies.
Yeah.
Tell me who
Yeah,
you are.
what the fuck you
And
even
then
say
he's
to
like,
that?
"What do you want me to say?" You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like that internal versus
You know who's
external.
got the?
A lot of people can't answer because in this day and
It's
age,
hard. Yeah.
it's like, okay, tell me who you are. Oh, well, I'm in construction sales and this. No. And it's like one of those simple questions that just gets so deep. We want to identify ourselves by our jobs, our hobbies, our cars, our house.
It's
Or,
more
you
about your
know,
thoughts.
it's
It's
just-
like, what are you? You almost just have to like list your thoughts.
Exactly.
Like adjectives of like, yeah, I mean, fuck
Yeah,
it.
no, I was going to say one of those quotes. I was trying to look it up. One of the best quotes of that I've ever heard is from Muhammad Ali, and he says something to the effect of like, they ask him, "How do you want to be remembered?" And he says, I don't know if it's pulling up, whatever. Something to the effect of like, "I want to be remembered as a champion and a boxer, but more importantly, a black man who stood up
Yeah,
for his community, who
That's-
was a
that's who
friend,
he
who was
is.
a leader,
Exactly.
who
Yeah.
was, you know,
You're
That's
exactly
what
he
I'm
goes
right.
around and
saying.
says
Yeah,
this
yeah.
incredible thing. Oh yeah. Here you go. Here, I'm gonna do
Yeah.
this since I pulled it up.
It just randomly popped up.
Yeah.
Oh
He's
yeah,
like,
yeah. Here, I just.
I'll tell you how I'd like to be remembered as a black man who won the heavyweight title and who was humorous and who treated everyone right, as a man who never looked down on those who looked up upon him and who helped as many people as he could financially and also in their fight for freedom, justice, and equality. And if all that's asking too much, then I guess I'd settle for being remembered as a great boxing champion who became a preacher and a champion of his people. And I wouldn't even mind if folks forgot how pretty I was.
Yeah,
We
Yeah,
might
you
have to
know,
like
you
drive
talk
on
about-
that.
You talk
Yeah,
about
that's-
Muhammad Ali's
branding.
quote with the
phenomenal,
fighter there,
dude.
man.
Yo, you
That's
talk
phenomenal,
about like
dude.
a dude that embraces knowing
Yeah,
he's
that-
good
that's-
and
yeah.
trash talks.
Transparent.
That's
Yeah.
by
Right,
far
and
my
talk
favorite
somebody
athlete.
down.
Yeah,
too.
let me just get like, can I grow in size too? Like, let me just get Muhammad Ali weight and just get knocked the
Oh
fuck
my
out.
God,
of it. Or
man.
Tyson, bro. I just like to take a right.
I-
hook
that's
at
who I
Tyson.
wanna
We talk
fight.
about Tyson all the
Yeah,
time.
Any
let me
point
just
in
take a
history,
right
I-
hook, dude. Let me just be the same weight.
Especially at
I
his
don't want
peak.
him to come down. I need to come up, and then just let me just get a fucking
Just
hook.
get at it.
That'd be
Yeah, let me just take one right.
Man, so
That's
I
a shit.
wanted to tie back. I was going to ask you earlier about, you said you're not a natural runner, that you got to force yourself, right? And I think it was
Yeah.
kind of, well, you know what I mean? Like, it's
Yeah,
not
as much
so
it seems
fun,
like unless
right?
anybody, unless you're
Yeah.
like a gazelle or like a lanky looking creature. Like, most people aren't like, yeah, but yeah,
No, but
that's
so
what-
what I meant was like, I think for a lot of people, they're trying to find exactly what you just described, right? What is my why? Where am I at? And I think people will turn to all different kinds of stuff to find that. And one of the things that I found helps, as difficult as it is running, man. Sometimes
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
giving yourself a road and a couple of
Yeah.
miles and just, you don't even got to run, walk, jog, give your thought some freedom,
Yeah.
right? Like that's really what it's
Yep.
about. I was talking to a friend the other day and I was like, hey man, for me, honestly, when I need to deal with something, like not even working out doesn't do it for me, because working out, I can't really get in that zone,
Yeah.
that tunnel vision. You know what I mean? I either ride, run, or I'll drink or something. So if I want to, no, I'm saying, so if I want to
Yeah,
have the
cheers.
healthy alternative, cheers. I mean, I'm being
To that.
honest, right? Hey,
Oh, you
so
can't
if
be
I have
empty. You need something.
the healthy and sustainable alternative, for me,
Yeah.
a lot of times it's running,
Yeah.
right? Like people choose therapy, people choose whatever.
Yeah.
The running works for me, man. And to your point earlier, I think you
Yeah,
said
yeah,
it,
about earlier. Running,
it brings it in to where your whole perspective on the rest
Yeah.
of the day changes.
Right, and people talk about meditation and things, and like, and that I'm sure sitting in in stillness is I mean, that's meditation, and that's a whole mental warfare in itself. But for me, like a lot of meditation takes place like on the road. You just put in one foot in front of the other and try to enter what's called like a flow state. That shit's, meditation for me. Doing anything where it's like, fuck, how much time's left? How much time's left? And then you have to reroute your brain from thinking about how much time is left to just entering, like just being in like one foot in front of the other, one foot in front of the other.
Yep.
And then you enter a flow state and then you get lost in like translation of your mind.
Literally
that-
what meditation is.
That
Yeah.
is,
Yeah.
for me, that's
just
like
how
some
you enter
literal
meditation.
definition.
It's your
Yeah.
approach
Yeah.
to it, the vehicle
Like,
that gets you there.
Somebody explained to think of meditation like being on a shore and you're watching boats, which are your thoughts, pass by on the river. And the number one thing you don't want to do is get in the boat with a thought and go down the river. So
that's-
you just keep watching it go, and then you're on to the next one, and you watch it go, and you just
Yeah.
never allow yourself to get in the boat.
Yeah.
That's what you're doing when you're running.
That's a huge game with getting ready for a fight. And I've learned to there's a time to listen to thoughts and there's a time not to, and it's always based on for one, your sleep, and then your temperament with that. So when you're in a positive mood and you're feeling good, well then it's a good time to divulge thoughts and get into it and curate some and figure out what are the next thoughts to have or how do you develop those thoughts. But anytime you're tired, like it's just when you're tired, you're negative and you're gloomy. And there's really not much positivity to come out of exhaustion unless you keep it really fucking simple. So like when you have thoughts and you're tired, I just immediately like write those off as like sunk thoughts. Like,
Yeah,
those are just
annoyed,
like thoughts. Yeah, yeah.
worthless.
Those aren't even like real. Like, oh, how's this fight going? Like, who the fuck cares? Think about that shit tomorrow. Like don't ask yourself that today, dude. Like don't even act, like just think about like that's for tomorrow. That's definitely for tomorrow. And like sometimes you just have to say that like that. This is for tomorrow.
That's huge, man. I mean, that
Yeah.
point in itself, telling
Yeah.
people sometimes, put it off till tomorrow.
Yeah.
You're trying to fight
Yeah.
it tonight at
No,
1
no,
a.m. when you
no.
got home, whatever the
Get
case.
some
You're
rest,
not
get your
doing
mind
anybody
right, yeah.
any favors.
Meanwhile, that's how I've lived my life.
Hey, I was
I'll
trying not
clean
to call
house
you out on the-
tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'll
Hey,
let-
remember
yo,
earlier when I said I was talking to a friend? I was trying to keep you discreet,
But
bro.
since we put it on the table that I'm a loan officer, I will not handle your loan tomorrow. I'll do it right now.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Supreme. That's for Supreme. That's Supreme.
Yeah. See, he came around. I love that
yeah,
shit.
yeah.
that's cool.
So call me at 200. No, I'm just kidding.
Hell yeah, man. So on that note, actually, not joking. We talked about it early on in the clip, but how do people find you, man? Tell them about your Insta. Where do you want people to look you up? What's the deal?
At the Great 155, and that's just across the board. So pretty simple. Yeah,
Love it.
Ohana Academy Northeast. That's my gym, and so. Shit, dude, you're just
Local, right?
trying to get your mind right, get your body right. Yeah, local. Swing by Ohana Academy Northeast.
San
It's right by
Antonio.
us.
Oh yeah. Bet.
My neighbor is the youth champ out of Ohana. Rene Cabrera, or his son is Moses Cabrera. Yeah.
I know Moses, dude.
Yeah, hell yeah, man. He wants to be like you, bro.
That dude's a stud, man.
He is a stud. He's
that's a
killing
kid
it.
that's always fucking in the gym, dude. So he will be.
He started at what, like 7 or something?
I don't know. Yeah, that's
Dude,
the
he's
crazy
been in
thing
there as
about
long as I've known
kids,
him.
too. Yeah, and you turn around for like 2 weeks and you look back and you're like, what the fuck is that? Like that's a mustache bigger than mine.
Literally,
they're my
Who's
height.
this kid.
They're my height. Yeah, they start looking like my uncle after like a couple.
He came
months.
over the other day, bro, for a school fundraiser. He was like, "Mister, we buy some they selling candy bars and shit." I was like, "Yo, man, how many?"
Yeah. It's like,
Just what do I
yeah,
need?
dude, just-
Take it easy.
Take it easy. Yeah.
What's the quote? I don't know who
Like
says
that.
it, but you'll never know more of a man than somebody that grew up in combat. And that's what these kids are doing. They're growing up in combat into men.
And here's the
in
thing
combat.
too with that, like don't get twisted as a parent and like vicariously live through your kid or like
Yes.
push your kid through combat. Like I think a big reason as to why I'm the way I am is because like I never dealt with my fucking dad. Like my dad put me in the direction of wrestling and introduced me to the game, and then I learned it. And like that motherfucker wasn't at my practices or like yelling at me, like and I got the work done. Like I wanted it, and that's why I became great. Not because my dad wanted it for me. It was because I
just
wanted it.
to take it a step
know?
further for those listening, your dad has a wrestling.
He's a
background.
wrestling
He's
coach
a
now. Yeah,
wrestler,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I kind of like lit the fire for him. So after like being with me, then it was like, you know what? I love this shit. Like I haven't done this since I was a kid. So then it was like we got through it together, and then it was like, okay. Then all my poor little brothers are like, all right, motherfuckers, you're in it now early, But like for me though, it was like I was at an age to where it was like it was the time for shit to actually matter. Your freshman year, maybe you could have done things before, but like you're at a point in your life where it's like I want this to matter for me. Like I want to be good at it. And so, he showed me the way to it, and it was like, okay, this is something I could do. And so he introduced me to it, gave me like a warm, nice velvet red rug to it. And then it was like, okay, now it's time for me to handle a business. And you know, and he was the most supportive dude that could be there. But he wasn't trying to micromanage or like enforce things
Giving you
on
your
me.
space and allowing
Right,
you to grow into your own.
100%. And then, you know, and then I found mixed martial arts on my own afterwards. Or I mean, I'm sorry, just the rest of mixed martial arts.
Sure,
right?
sure.
But
I like that.
but
the rest of
yeah,
I mean,
but-
there's a
yeah,
lot of
yeah.
arts.
there's
to
a
pick
ton
up
of
lot of
wrestling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so many, I mean, so many parents like press their kids at such an early age, and it's like you kind of got to let them breathe also. And there's something beautiful in like team sports, and the best guys at anything, like especially like super athletes or even like successful people, they're
Sales.
rounded, dude. They're
Yeah.
rounded. And listen to the fucking Art Award, talking about being a painter, like a
Boom.
poet, a
Yeah.
writer, like all the things that you can do.
Do it all.
Yeah, you need to be able to be smooth and have like a mind that is fluid to, you know, all realms, as opposed to being, you know, I've gotta
Multidimensional.
fight. Yeah. It's you got to be.
Personal belief I
Okay.
have too with the like watching the kids get pushed by their parents to be fighters, right? You can push your kid or influence your kid to be the greatest grappler or jujitsu player,
Anything, man.
or
Piano
karate,
player,
piano,
soccer player, whatever.
But to be a fighter, like, and right or wrong, let me know how you feel about this. But I personally believe you have to be wired to enjoy hitting
Yes.
and getting hit.
Or you got to be
Outside-
willing to learn that.
Yeah,
Like
you-
every day, I'm like, you're gonna be a fucking psycho today,
yeah.
and that's literally it, man.
It's
And that's
to
what we were
feel
talking about
alive
earlier.
when you
That's
get
what we were
hit.
talking about
That's that
earlier. That's the
mind.
exact same shit we're talking about. The shit talk. It's like you can have your athletic kid, but it doesn't mean he's a fucking fighter. And guess what
Right.
he's
Not
gonna
at all.
do?
Completely
He's
agree.
going to
Yep.
fight. That's what he has to do.
Yep.
And so you can't
awesome, man.
force, you can't run the script for it, you can't do enough hours.
Mhm.
But
You
that's
know,
not
it's
even
like-
that's people, man. Like you
It's
look at
people,
people
yeah.
get caught in a situation out in the world, and
Yeah.
it's fight or flight.
Right.
It doesn't. I mean, we're wired that way. You either are or you
You know,
aren't.
that's an
one way or
interesting
another.
point because a lot of people, I mean, statistically speaking, you're wired to flight and you have
Most
to
people
teach
are.
yourself
Ah.
how to fight,
Yeah.
period. Especially in like, we talk about it in gunfights. No person is wired to run to gunfire. Nobody
Right.
is.
Thank God I've never had to.
I signed up for
experience
that.
But you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
you have, yeah,
learn
absolutely.
to respond.
Yeah.
You didn't even
Which,
learn
speaking
to,
of, man,
you
we-
don't think
shit.
about it.
Hey,
Oh, Veterans
happy
Day, bro.
belated-
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
happy
Yeah.
Veterans Day, man.
Yeah.
Thank you for your
Yeah.
service.
Man.
Hey, we said
Shout
it
to
yesterday.
Dario.
but
Shout
still,
to Dario.
you know, bring it up.
I did. That was the
You're,
asshole.
shout
I
to
didn't
Worldwide
even
Marine too,
Military.
right?
Hmm?
Your
My
dad was a Marine as well.
Pop
Yeah.
Austin Marine, yeah.
That's a
No, but
perfect
it's a
example.
certain component to it. It's
Fight or
a
flight.
little bit wired, but it's still.
You can
that
learn
first
it though,
time,
right?
Like, oh man, they're trying to kill me with the bullet.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? They're in the
Yeah.
octagon. They're
do or
they're
die.
trying to crush my skull.
right.
Hey, let's roll.
Yeah.
Let's,
I mean,
hey,
that's-
that
I wanna be
seems to be your
victorious.
approach.
That's
Let's
nuts.
roll.
Let's roll. Yeah. And I've been trying to, you know, like we said, just compose that and refine it. But yeah, it's definitely. I mean, and you know what I've even told myself just today. Like I said, I was revisiting these fights, thinking back, and it's like that. You know, that Dariush knock. I was like, we gotta bring that shit back, man. And I kind of found this ground of like, it's time to boogie. Like we got to get in there and get to work versus being too complacent or too overzealous. But just find that happy middle ground. A guy who's fucking done that like a stud, Gaethje. Gaethje came back, reinvented his last few fights to where he was just going in there, slugger knocking, and then it's like, well, I can breathe in between these shots, and I can just slightly adjust my range,
What did
slightly
you
adjust
say?
my feints.
Getting to work versus getting them back or some shit like that.
Just now, I got
No.
He's like-
Previously,
I
no,
wanna say some
you
great
mentioned
shit, but I don't
something about
remember.
that. Like, I need to be more strategic. I need to get to work versus just trying to get them back.
Oh,
You know what I mean in that
yeah.
approach or whatever.
Yeah. I remember the phrase, but yeah, it's essentially just being calculated and being
Yeah.
just being composed, dude. The whole thing is just being composed. I mean, that's literally it. And
Exactly.
that's like that, like in absolutely anything you do. The man who's more composed in his approach and his delivery is going to be the one on top. And that's literally.
Hold on,
it.
let me take
And then
notes
he
on that
walks.
real quick because I've been struggling with composure lately.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
but
you
you're
definitely
so
need to
right,
take a
man.
breath, bro. Like, this dude doesn't breathe enough.
Hey, you know what I like? Now to wrap it up, man. Like, first off, you've spent great time with us in the studio.
Went
Greatly
very quickly,
appreciate
man. I'm
it.
Appreciate
so
you guys.
grateful that you
Super
came out.
thankful
Thank
for
you so
coming
much.
out.
You got a busy schedule, getting ready to conquer the UFC, man. So thanks for being here.
And then I couldn't think of a better way to tie in the theme of our show in terms of Hustlers Huddle, right? Like you epitomize that in everything you do. You've conquered it in the sales world, in the business world. You've in academia. You've gone and gotten your financial degree right, and then you've been able to translate that into the most insane kind of
Right,
freaking
right.
career in terms of being a UFC fighter and being successful in that arena, right? So that is, to me, the definition of a hustler, right? Being able to combine all of those, being that jack of all trade, that Genghis Khan, right? That
Yeah.
warrior king, the warrior poet, so to speak,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Mm.
So Man, we appreciate you sharing that essence with us. Look forward to all of the many successes that I'm sure you're going to have in the future.
Absolutely, man.
Hey, bro, I'm looking forward, and I'm gonna commit you to this right the fuck now.
Here we go.
I look forward to when you come back to the Hustlers
Yo, I
Huddle
was going to ask.
with
like
the
your direct
belt
approach.
slung over your
absolutely.
shoulder, bro.
Now we're talking.
So I look forward to that shit, dog. I
Get
look
this man
forward
on
to
there.
it, man.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah,
straight up,
man,
man.
I
Dario,
appreciate
you
you
got
guys.
something you want to part with?
Hey, no, man. I was a fan before. I mean, I'm even a bigger fan now.
Hell yeah.
Satan represent. Good
Satan
luck to you.
represent, yeah.
Good health to
Thank
you.
Thank you.
As a one
Most
from
important.
an athlete to
Yeah,
an most important thing, your body's your corporation. Stay mentally strong. Stay physically healthy. You got the Hustlers Huddle in your corner, bro.
Man, I appreciate that. I appreciate you guys coming in here, dude. Like you said, it's huge to just grow within the city and with each other. And so this is dope. And
Yeah,
I
Satan's
love the
on your
Hustlers
back,
Huddle.
bro.
It's very dope man cave you guys got here. Like,
Hell yeah,
doing
bro.
the damn thing.
Thank you,
so.
man.
Well, like
Appreciate
Chris
you
said,
guys having
you're
me.
welcome back anytime, but
Thank you.
particularly when you come back with that belt, bro. We'll put you
Hell
up for
yeah.
No, fuck that. I'm gonna put it in like, nah, don't come back without a belt.
Yeah.
Welcome here without a belt.
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what. Second, we got some clearance.
Yeah.
24 karat plus.
There you go. There you go.
I'm gonna use the dot.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's real. Let
That's
him
real.
in.
Bring him in. Oh yeah. Hey, one more time, man. At
At the Great 155 and Ohana Academy Northeast.
That's what's
Ohana
up.
Academy
Academy
Northeast,
Northeast.
here in Saytown.
I'm-
At the Great 155.
Yes, sir.
Alex the Great, thank you so much for being
Thanks
with
for having
us.
me, guys. Appreciate y'all.
Guys, this has been the Hustlers Huddle.
Hey, be sure to check us out online at thehustlershuddle.com. If you ever want to find out how to not get a hold of, but follow Alex.
Yes.
You can't. I mean, if you're an attractive female, maybe you
Yo,
can
if you're
DM.
lucky, slide in
But
the
whatever.
DMs.
But that said,
that's it.
or any of the past guests, thehustlershuddle.com.
Stay humble. Stay hungry. Keep hustling.
Later, guys. Thanks.
See how we do. I'm gonna get you feeling cool. Time to get up on the bus. I'm about to take your butt to school. Time's up, but we're at it again. Back in the lab and we play.